What's up, guys? It's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. It is time for a trip into the Goblins Underworld once again today. I say Goblins and Underworld, there's kind of two different seasons, but into the realm of the Goblins once again. And it is on a Sunday. I think this is probably the first time they've actually opened up an event portal on a Sunday. But obviously it's because they've got a couple of new heroes to drop. And one of them is this sultry looking Queen Iocantha, just attitude for days. So I'm interested to have a look at her. And then of course we've got this guy Theodosius trying to do his best to fit in. So let's see what these two new heroes are all about. Again, no additions to the 4 stars unfortunately for the Goblins or for the Garrison Guard. It'd be nice if we had more than one just to add to this portal. Since they are one of the best hero groupings in the game, they seem to be doing really well. It'd be nice if we can add somebody to this pool. So I hope you guys Rush War went well, the first iteration of it for this weekend. But it's Sunday morning and we've got new heroes to look at. So I really want to start with this one. She just looks absolutely awesome. So I love the attitude, if that's not already clear. Her name is Iocantha and she is a fire hero, of course. So she is going to be from the Garrison Guard family, which means she gets a bonus from a single hero at the start of the battle. She summons a Recruit Guard Mega Minion with anything from 20% up to 30% HP and 100% up to 140% attack, depending on how many Garrison Guard family heroes that you have. So that is Iocantha's family bonus. Her passives. First one's resistance against mana reduction. So you cannot give them mana reduction. They have an innate resistance against it. It is a pretty strong passive for the Garrison Guard heroes, but it's all about this. Every 4 turns, she removes all wither effects from all allies. So they have the Guard Rally, which is a strong and solid counter for wither effects. And I've honestly, in this Rush War, I went up against that yellow goblin. I can't remember what he's called now, like the ugliest looking one. And he gives a massive wither effect to your attack. And it was just like 4 of my heroes against him, and I just couldn't cut him down. And I was like, geez, I really wish that I had a Garrison Guard on my team. I did get there in the end, but it took a bit of thinking about how I was going to plan out my tiles. So this passive can be really very useful is all I'm trying to say. Now, in terms of stats for Iocantha, we'll switch off the max power preview real quick. So we're looking at 1,074 on her team power, which is fantastic, one of the highest in the game. 1,145 on the attack, 1,052 on defense, and 1,818 on HP. So I mean, honestly, just the best stats ever at the moment. I mean, every single hero is coming out with stats nearly upwards of 1,100. She is more attacking, which is quite nice to see, but she's also got good defensive stats and a nice high HP as well, which is really good. In terms of special skill, I mean, I've already spoken about how this hero looks. She just looks awesome. I love the attitude. I love it if we see more heroes with a bit more character like this. Not necessarily, you know, the less clothes is the better. I'm not talking about that, honestly. If it was, I'd just play Watcher of Realms all day. But I just love the attitude. Either a super comical hero that just makes you laugh every time you open the card, or somebody who just is like, come on, bring it on. And that is what she's all about. So I really do like it. So her special skill is called Ace's High, and she's running at very fast speed. So the attack bypasses defensive buffs. This will include counterattacks, and she deals 300% damage to the target and to 2 random enemies. So obviously if there's only 1 hero left on the field, she's just going to snipe that hero out basically. Each hit reduces the duration of all status effect buffs on the hit enemy by 1 turn. Now, this is a kind of weird effect which we're seeing introduced with these heroes. Now, initially when I read it, I thought it was kind of like one of those things in those KB videos. I don't know if you've seen them on YouTube, but basically the guy who just rips people for doing things in overcomplicated ways. And that's what I kind of thought this effect is, because why would you not just say, and then cleanses buffs on the hit enemy, or cleanses buffs from the enemy team, dispels buffs, sorry, from the enemy team. And we'll see it with the other hero that's coming up as well. Because it kind of seems like that's exactly what, I mean, that would be a better iteration of this effect. But then at the same time, it says on the question mark here, it says the duration reduction affects both dispellable and undispellable status effect buffs. Now, this could be massive, because the reason I say it could be massive is if it applies to growth, as growth is a status effect buff. If it's undispellable and applies to growth, then they may have a counter for growth and to wither, which would just be awesome. But at the same time, it's also going to be a pretty good counter for like resettable buffs. If it's not applying to growth though, then I kind of don't see the point of it. So basically, I mean, let's just sort of hash it out really. So each hit reduces the duration of all status effect buffs on the hit enemy by 1 turn. If that just said dispels all buffs from all enemies, it would be so much better. Like, tell me if I'm wrong there. But it doesn't. It says reduces the status effect buffs of the hit enemy by 1 turn. So if they have, 3 turns left on a buff, she's going to reduce that by 1 turn. But then she's hitting randomly, so she could hit the same hero twice, in which case she'll reduce their buffs by 2 turns. It all gets a little bit complicated, but I hope you get what I mean. Now it says there, if the duration on any buff is reduced to 0, the effect is considered as having expired naturally, which makes sense. I mean, if she has 1 turn, or the hero has 1 turn left on the buff and she hits them twice, it's going to be dispelled anyway. But don't get sort of drawn in by this. It does seem like kind of a fancy way of just saying this hero dispels buffs, which is kind of what I'm going to take it as, except for unless it works against the growth effect, in which case this is a freaking awesome hero. As she is, though, I don't think she's bad. I like the fact that the attack bypasses defensive buffs. It's not the first time that we've seen that, but the first time that we've seen this high of an attack or this high of a damage stat for a very fast speed hero. So 300% damage to the target and 2 random enemies. I know it's not target and nearby, but in some senses, target and nearby enemies is actually better, because you get to hit more people and you get to spread the hit across the board. So it can be seen in 2 lights, and it can really be good if you are just having 1 enemy left on the board. Like I said, you do get a lot of battles nowadays where you're just down to 1 enemy hero and you just need to kill them. Costume Vivica, I'm talking Toon Vivica, I'm talking about you. But yeah, you really need a hero that can just bust through a single hero and just put the final nail in the coffin. And it looks like Iocantha will be that hero to be able to do that. And then, I mean, the final part, you might as well just look at that as like a worse buff dispel. Either that or it's like the best thing since sliced bread. But like I said before, that depends on whether it works against growth or not. So summarize, I really do like this hero. I think she's amazing. I love a very fast speed hero. I think who doesn't love a very fast speed hero? But I do think that it remains to be seen whether that effect counters growth and whether they've put that in as the undispellable status effect buff. If it isn't, then it could be really useful for heroes like, what's his name? From the Musketeers. Who am I thinking of? Aramis? I'm pretty sure his name's Aramis. But yeah, anyway, the guy who gives the undispellable buffs, and some of the other heroes that give undispellable buffs as well, she could be good against, but then there aren't quite as many that give undispellable buffs as there are that we have problems with in the game at the moment. And yeah, Aramis was awesome when he was released, but not so much now. So my thoughts on Iocantha, kind of TBD, but for the most part, I think she is a pretty awesome hero. I do like most of what I'm reading on this card. Now let's move over to our other garrison guard, Theodosius. So interesting looking defender of the frog people. So he is obviously a nature hero. He's also of the Garrison Guard family, so we won't go over his family bonuses again. They're exactly the same. We summons the Mega Minion, but he does get an additional passive. Now, maybe this is because he's running at slow speed, where we saw I've forgotten her name already. Iocantha got the single passive because she's running at very fast speed. I'm assuming that's probably why it is. His first passive will be mana on status ailment received. So he gets 5% mana when he receives a status ailment or a negative stack. So he increases his mana upon ailment received. And then resistance against mana reduction. So again, he's got the innate resistance against mana reduction. And he also has the guard guard rally. So every 4 turns he removes all wither effects from all allies. So again, a hard counter for wither, which is definitely needed with all the goblins in the game, just flooding the game. So in terms of stats, looking at his stats without the max power preview, he is a more defensive hero. You can see 1130 on defense and 1856 on his health, but he's still pushing 1100, like 1062 on the attack. So even though he leans more towards the defense, that's definitely not a downside for him. I'm just thinking this class for him, the monk class, where he gets the chance to withstand, that kind of works against his passive because he has a chance to withstand those ailments and he wouldn't get the mana then. So, I mean, that's really neither here nor there, but it's just something that I noticed. Defense up on the Ether talent's really, really good. I do like that one. And I should have mentioned with Iocantha, she gets the special boost, which gives her initial 30% increased damage on her special skill for 6 turns. So I do like that one as well, especially on a very fast speed hero. So the first time she attacks, you're going to get probably 330% damage hit to 3 heroes easily, which is awesome. For this guy, because he's running at slow speed, the defense up Ether talent is awesome. And let's have a look at his special. So reporting for duty is running at slow speed. He deals, whoa, that's a lot. 450% damage to all enemies. Okay, so like a guaranteed Khufu hit to all. Just look at it in that way. And probably a bit harder. In fact, probably quite a lot harder because of the stat boosts, etc. And then he reduces the duration of all allies' active status ailments by 3 turns. Again, why he doesn't just cleanse the active status ailments, I have no idea. But again, if this is working against the growth effect, then it could be really, really good. Or against the wither effect, then it could be really, really good. And reduces the duration of all enemies' active buffs by 3 turns. So again, he could just say, deals 450% damage to all enemies, dispels buffs from all cleanses status ailments from all allies, and dispels buffs from all enemies. Done. That's it. Like, that is literally a better special and pretty similar. But like I said, somebody needs to get these guys and needs to let me know whether they are working against the growth effect or not. Because if they're not, then I kind of think that this is just putting words in there that don't need to be there. Because why would you rather reduce the duration of status ailments than just cleanse them altogether? And why would you rather reduce the duration of enemies' buffs rather than just dispel them altogether? You're certainly not going to want to reduce the duration of things where you can't safely cleanse them. So that is also kind of a shitty one. So there's a couple of reasons why I'm not completely sold on these heroes, but I could be. I definitely could be. Now, all allies also get 30% defense for 5 turns. Nice. And all enemies get negative 30% defense for 5 turns. I mean, again, super nice. So this is a super cool hero. Really, 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 really good amount of damage that he does up front. And then I like the increased defense and the decreased defense. But I mean, it would just be insane if he said 450% damage to all enemies, cleanses and dispels, and then freaking the defense up and the defense down as well. But as is, I think he's going to be really, really useful in Rush. I do think that duration thing is kind of awkward because it means you are still going to be taking damage. But that said, he's a pretty tanky unit, so he's probably going to stick around quite a long time. You need to watch out for this guy. I would say he's going to be good on defense as well, just because he is a bit tanky, so he will get those extra stats as well as the 20% defense up boost for 6 turns at the beginning of the battle. So I think you could safely tank this guy, and he will stick around to deal that massive amount of damage. So he's dangerous for sure. And then they also get that extra protection with the shield guard mega minions as well. So I think he is a really good hero. But you know what? I'm gonna say that they're, as far as the garrison guard heroes, alongside Shimmer and things like that, I'll give these guys an A, solid A. I don't see anything about either of them that sets them apart into the S tier, like I said, unless that growth effect thing comes into play. So with that being said, please do let me know in the comments what you guys think of Iocantha and also of Theodosius. I'll really be interested to hear from you guys. I always love reading your comments about the new hero releases. Do drop us a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help me. And also, speaking of helping me, if you like the content, I know some of you guys have been with me for basically for years now. I honestly love this game as much as you do. And I do have memberships running on the channel. So if you want to show your support in another way, I would consider a membership, as well as, you will get access to some exclusive perks on there, priority responses to comments, and also help with discussing heroes a bit more privately than we do on the YouTube channel as well. So yeah, it's something to consider. But until the next time, that is everything for now on the new heroes. So I wish you guys all of the best. Have a lovely week. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.